Well, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your Monday. I had to restart this a couple of times because I wasn't doing something right. So here's a third attempt. It looks like I am going live. So good to see you guys all this morning. Kind of a big news day for AI. Some of you guys have been already following. Some of you haven't, and that's okay. But I did have a few messages already this morning on Sync Academy asking me about what's going on with this deep sync thing, which is essentially, hey, what's up, Isomatic, which is essentially a Chinese company, AI company that released a model not too long ago that is essentially kind of outcompeting or at least staying consistent with the quality of the state-of-the-art tech that the U.S. companies have been developing and spending billions of dollars to be able to do it by using tons and tons of GPUs and training them and all that kind of stuff. So the TLDR is essentially we might have thought about AI the wrong way, thinking that we need to just throw billions and billions of dollars and tons of chips at it when there might have been a more efficient way to train a model to make it extremely efficient and powerful. So we're still in the fog of war of it right now. I don't know necessarily what's happening because there are two ideas here. One is essentially that it's possible that this Chinese company figured out a way due to the lack of chips that they have available to them. There's a ban essentially on U.S. chips going over to China because they were limited in their resources. They just had to find a way to be creative with training their model. And I think I have a very, very poor man's understanding of it, but it sounds like they might have just gone to ChatGPT's model and trained off of it. I don't know exactly how it did that. Trained off of its output or somehow got data that OpenAI had used or whatever. So we're not really figuring out exactly how they did that. And then, of course, the other idea is that maybe they did use a ton of GPUs, but they're just not able to disclose that because they're not legally allowed to have them, right? So there's a whole bunch of theories as to what it is. But somebody in Sync Academy was asking about it, like, does this at all affect us in the generative AI music space? This particular story, no, because DeepSeek is a language model, a text language model. So you're only going to be able to, ask it to write text for you. So it's not going to be generating songs. Lyrics, yeah, it can definitely do lyrics, that kind of a thing. But it's not like a Suno or a Udio competitor. That's not what it's designed to do. So that's not necessarily connected. But it does sort of put a new doubt in everybody's head as to, do you have to have billions and billions of dollars to create a pretty useful, helpful AI model that can do all kinds of things, maybe more than just text, but also pictures, videos, music, audio, that kind of thing, right? So it's certainly a story I'm going to keep my eye on. It's very interesting, but we're in the middle of it. So I don't know exactly what this really means, but I'll certainly keep you guys updated if it really does seem to have sort of a massive impact on us in our sort of fight for our AI rights. But the point of today's stream is not to get into that wormhole, but really just to talk to you guys about the fact that we've been having some great conversations in Sync Academy as a part of our Sync Focus program. We had our first kind of group, I guess, mastermind breakout chat last Friday, not this last one, but the one before that. And I put a video out on my channel this morning letting you guys know about how that went. And I kind of was eavesdropping and going into each one of the little chats, breakout rooms, and just listening to what the members were saying and what was really going on, because I wanted to find out exactly what are the pain points. And sure enough, it's very common. A lot of the pain points, a lot of the issues that a lot of producers are going through really boil down to one of two things. One, finding the right libraries. That seems to be a big concern for a lot of them. And even as they're doing more research, maybe even using SyncEdge, there's still this big monumental, but which one of these should I really give a shot to? Which one of these really feels like the right fit? I don't really know. And so there's still a lot of doubt there. And by the way, I know my color scheme is gone today. This is just boring office decorations today. So I hope you guys are cool with that. It's raining here, so I figure it's kind of a nice day just to put on the regular lights. And so finding libraries and knowing which ones to pitch to and finding the right fit for you seems to be a kind of a daunting task, very, very daunting task. So maybe we need to take some more time talking about that and going over how to do some research and figuring out which ones are right for you. And also, which ties into the second main concern, is there's usually a psychological, mental, emotional struggling point, like a block. There's something that's kind of getting in the way of many of us feeling confident enough to pick a library or to make tracks and complete the tracks that we start, even if we're not in love with it, even if it's not the best thing we've ever done, we're not super, super happy or proud of it. getting past that mental psychological block and just finishing the damn track. Like that seems to be a big concern. And tied into that is a little bit of the isolation of feeling like you're the only one doing this. Who cares if you're doing this or not? Nobody's even listening. Nobody's paying attention. You're kind of in your own little home pod, isolated from the rest of the world, right? In this internet world. So yeah, those seem to be the biggest issues. So if you're struggling with any of those types of issues, just know the point of today's stream and the video I put out this morning is just let you know that's normal. That is just normal 9 to 5 business here in sync licensing. You're not special. You're not unique. You're not different. You're not a freak if you're struggling with those kinds of things. We all feel it. In fact, me right now, I'm in the middle of a gig where I am shooting for another theme opportunity with a major sports network. And even though I did a theme last year as my first one, you would think I'd be way more confident this time. Same issues that I had last time. Self-doubt, struggling to know if I really have what it takes. Maybe I just got lucky last time. I was scratching my head at various parts of this gig. We're still in the middle of it. We haven't landed it yet. We're definitely in talks with them, so it feels good, but there's still the sense of it's not finished yet, and I don't know exactly how to take it from where it's at to that next level of like, yes, this is super strong. Let's pitch it off to them. So we're in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of it right now. So it doesn't really matter even how long you've been at this, how successful you are, how many libraries you got into, how many placements, royalties you've earned. You're still going to run into these issues over and over and over again. And I think the only antidote is to talk about it with other people, share it with other people, and also just for you guys watching this to know you're not alone. So Ryan, you're saying the same thing, library searching and find the right fit and the confidence. Cool. Yeah, definitely very, very normal. Everybody struggles with that. In fact, what I want to do today is kind of go through some of the recent comments we got in Sync Academy and letting you guys know. I'm not going to give the members names. I'm going to give them their privacy, but I want you guys to just to hear these thoughts and these comments from other members, just so you know how normal this stuff is and how regular this stuff is and how it's a very just natural, normal process for trying to really do well with sync licensing. Okay. So the first one, I basically just put this in the academy just to ask people like, you know, what are you struggling with? What's your pain point? What's really getting in the way of you feeling like this is going to be a successful year for you? What is really the hardest part of your journey right now as we near the end of January, moving into February? Let me just read a couple of these, okay? So this one was from a member saying, at this point, getting updates on the tracks I've signed with libraries and various companies is my main priority. And basically he's saying that not really knowing necessarily, are his tracks being shopped? Is there interest in them? It's kind of like you send your tracks off to a library and there's this kind of like, it's out there. Is it really doing well? Is it in demand? Is it not in demand? And as you guys know, you have to wait 9 months to a year to see your royalties pop up to find out really if you got a placement. You can use TuneSat and other, basically TuneSat is the only service. So you can kind of get a little bit of a preview here and there on some of your tracks, but it is a very, very normal common thing to be like feeling in limbo in this industry, whether or not you're trying to get into a library, you already are, as this member was, okay? Very common concern. This is a really, really good one. At this point, it's from a new member. I'm just starting out and I feel like I doubt everything. It's a tough hurdle. Might have to lean into the community focus more to see if anybody else is in the same boat to team up with some tracks. It's tough to admit from somebody who never wants to accept help. So I feel you there. I definitely am in that boat too. Very hard to accept help. Very hard to accept that I need some assistance on something. But doubting everything, very normal. I'm in this business going on 17 years, almost have 10,000 placements under my account. Still doubt myself. Okay, so just letting you know that's all normal. Okay, another one saying finding the right libraries. Yeah, just trying to find the right fit for his music. So very, very normal. This producer has singer-songwriter skills, but not really sure if it's really going to fit into this industry and where those skills will fit into this industry. Absolutely, they can fit into this industry, and more these days, as you guys know, that full-on tracks with vocals are becoming the norm, the standard, the must-have. So yeah, that's a very, very normal one. This member saying just getting a response from libraries. I think having Reel Crafter is actually driving me nuts because I can see who has and hasn't opened my reel. So if you guys have been pitching using a service like Reel Crafter where you can monitor the stats and you see like they didn't even open it, or they did open it but they didn't reply to me, both of those things can be a punch in the gut. And so certainly that's concerning. That's very, very demotivating. Absolutely. Somebody saying need to be more consistent with music production, trying to find some kind of schedule that you can follow. So there you go. So just being consistent. And that's really what we're trying to do with you guys for Sync Focus. That's why the first decision of the year, if you guys haven't made it yet, please do make it, You need to decide how many hours per week minimum you want to throw at this thing. It can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 5, it can be 10. You kind of decide what's realistic for you. But whatever that minimum number is, trying to make sure that every single week you show up and put in your hours, okay? And then, of course, the minimum for Sync Focus is we're asking everybody to at least complete, not just get a sketch together, get a demo together, mess with some things, bounce, finished, an entire track, 1 to 3 minutes long, however it's going long as it could be, 2 tracks per month, every single month. So we're coming to the end of January, and some of you guys really need to kick it up into high gear to make sure you nail it. Now, again, it's not minimum 2 tracks that are going to get accepted by a library and placed in the TV show. That is not what our goal is. We're basically just focusing on, if this was basketball camp, the bounce pass, right? And dribbling and getting in shape and running and doing lines. If you guys remember doing lines, going back and forth, back and forth. We're doing basics, fundamentals, just showing up, creating a new habit of being productive in our home studios. So that's what we have you guys doing that. And so hopefully for this member, for all of you guys that are still struggling with the consistency of the schedule, you can figure out a way to either wake up earlier before work, get a couple hours in after work. Maybe it's just the weekends. You can really carve out a little bit of time for yourself. It's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require some taking away of something else in your life. Time is the thing that's not infinite. We have to, obviously, it's a zero sums game. But I hope you guys can get to your minimums as a result of Sync Focus. So this member saying the main pain point is getting out of my own way when it comes to music production. I have the tools to write and create, but when it comes to the rubber hitting the road, I have moments where my confidence in my ability is waning for sure. So I believe that it's because I'm so concerned about creating music that is quality music that's licensable. I have to learn to be more trusting and confident in my ability to produce quality music. Absolutely. Great point. And I really do think that it's the fake it till you make it approach that gets you through that. You have to pretend and believe you are confident enough and you are a professional in this business. You're just waiting for the income to prove it, right? But you are going to be showing up on day one with a professional mindset, with a confident mindset. And when you do have those moments of self-doubt, as I just recently did and still do, you have to accept them. They're going to come no matter what, no matter who you are, but not let them steer the ship, if that makes sense. They come and then you just say, well, that's a thought, but I'll get through this. I've got it. I'm a professional. I'll figure this out and I will finish this track and I will get this gig done. You have to consciously counteract those sort of naturally occurring bubbling up thoughts that are self-defeating essentially with your own positive programming. So we talk about that in the Sync Psych 101 series here in Sync Academy. So if you guys have not gone through those tutorials in Sync Academy, it's right under Sync Focus, right? So if you go in the courses section, you'll see Sync Focus, or right underneath that, I should probably switch them, you'll see Sync Psych 101. And I keep on promoting that one because that is more important than anything else. You're going to learn about but how do PROs work, and how much can you earn from royalties, and how do libraries operate, and how do they, all these really great questions, technical, interesting questions about how to succeed in the business. That is all worthless. I'll repeat it again. Worthless. It doesn't matter how PROs work. It doesn't matter how libraries work. It doesn't matter how to get placements. It doesn't matter any of this stuff if your psychological mindset is not primed for success, right? You're not ready to essentially turn the gears on when you need to turn the gears on and counteract the self-doubt that is going to definitely come into your career. That is the thing that kills people's careers. It's not that they couldn't figure out how the PROs pay royalties. Everybody can figure that out. That's the easy part. Counteracting these mental messages, that is the tricky part. That is what I'm finding mostly what takes people out of this business before they're kind of seeing the results that they wanted to. So another one, my main psychological self-sabotage tendencies, self-doubt. There you go. Very, very normal. This member saying, it's really interesting to read everybody's difficulties. I'm not glad others are struggling, but I'm glad I'm not alone. So there you go. So just so you guys know, if you come into Sync Academy or you haven't been too active in Sync Academy, please do chime in and start being more active, because you'll find out very quickly that absolutely there's a lot of other people that are going through whatever you're going through, maybe even to a bigger degree, and you'll find out, oh, okay, normal stuff. We can move past this. We can kind of, get ourselves in a better position here. So, and then this member at the end was saying that he's trying to find libraries that have briefs, but many do not provide briefs once you become a composer. And he wants libraries to communicate their needs and not wait until the last minute to provide a cattle call brief. And this is a good concern, but it's also the reason why I'm saying you don't want to work with companies that only send out briefs to large numbers of composers. If you work with high quality and boutique, those are the ones that we recommend for you guys on SynPych. If you're working with those kinds of companies, they will send you directly, don't wait for them to do this, but they will communicate with you and say, you know what, you're doing great music in this style of music. Could you put together like one more album like that? Or maybe, we have this other client that's coming on board. They're needing a lot of music that's like your style of music, but with a little bit of an orchestral twist. Are you able to do that? You need to have personal relationships with people that have opportunities with clients. If you're only relying on quote unquote public briefs, briefs that just kind of get sent out to an entire email list or to a roster of a whole bunch of composers, something like that, forget about it. The chances of you even getting your track accepted, forwarded, very, very minimal. And that's not a personal relationship. That's definitely not what that is. So you should be looking not for briefs. You should be looking for conversations. You should be looking for emails. You should be looking for phone calls, Zoom calls, that kind of thing. And when you get accepted by a library, as I've always told you guys, the very first, once they accept you and they say, great, here's your contract, we're going to get you, on our catalog, congratulations, great, feel excited, feel good. Your very first reply to that after signing the agreement, if you want to work with them, all that good stuff, is, now what can I do, right? What else do you need? What is coming down the pipeline? You guys accepted one album of this type of music. You think it'd be a good idea for me to do another album like that? Or should I do a different thing? What projects are coming down the pipeline? So you should take it upon yourself to initiate that conversation, to let them know you're not one of the producers that just drops off an album at a catalog and just crosses your arms and goes, all right, well, let's see what you do for me. If you don't ever ask them what they're looking for, what they're working on, how you can be useful for them, that's probably what they're going to assume about you. They're going to assume, oh yeah, okay, cool, we got his music, but he's not really that serious and he's not really around anymore, so whatever, let's just keep moving forward. If you become kind of the squeaky wheel, right, and you let them know, no, I'm a team member. I'm here to consistently serve you. I didn't just do this once. I want this to be my job. I want to consistently say, what do you need? Thank you. Here you go. I want to do this kind of thing all the time, over and over again. So you need to take it upon yourself to be asking them what they're looking for and what you could potentially be doing in the future, and not waiting for them to send out a brief, right, that all the other composers get as well. You should be saying, these are my skills, this is what I can do, how can I best serve you? Those are the conversations that get you into the inner circle of libraries as soon as possible. That's it. Waiting for them to come to you and say, okay, now we have this great opportunity. Thank you for being so patient, and here you go. Playing the waiting game is a waste of time. Don't wait for anybody in this business. Make your own opportunities, make your own luck, so to speak, by being useful and being ready to serve and available and being eager and hungry to be able to serve them, okay? So Oliver says, SynPych is gold. So Oliver, obviously, you have taken advantage of that course. I'm glad you have. That is great to hear. So good to hear that. Matthew, SynPych helped me by reaffirming the same thoughts I found on my own before I signed into Sync Academy, so I know I'm on the right track. Very cool. Yeah, and for some of you guys, you might have already the confidence you need. You've already got kind of the knowledge set you need. And I find that being a big issue. A lot of people think, I fall into this myself, like when I want to learn something new, I won't go do the thing. I'll go watch, 18,000 tutorials on YouTube about it first and read blogs about it and ask AI about it first, because I want to make sure, I know everything before I get started. And honestly, it's a form of procrastination and fear of like, you know what? Learn the basics. You learn a couple of things. Like in an afternoon, probably you can learn enough about some new thing to get started with it. I mean, if not, maybe a weekend, right? You don't need that much time and that many tutorials to learn about something new. But really what you got to do is just jump into the thing and start doing it and figuring it out. So for some of you guys, seeing and watching some of our tutorials in Sync Academy, especially SynPych, might give you that confidence of like, yeah, I knew I had what it took, and I just didn't give myself enough credit to go just get started. And I didn't feel like, I thought I had to have all the answers before I did it. I've said this so many times, guys, like 16 years in the business, I don't necessarily know how all the aspects of this industry even work. I don't really. And that's okay. I don't need to be able to get started. I didn't need to earn royalties to make it my full-time focus. You guys don't either as well. You need to know enough to get started. You need to know enough to be dangerous, right? To get started and move forward. But thinking you got to have everything figured out and have every little, secret to the industry to get started, it's a form of procrastination. I think you guys know that. So, hey, Luke, good to see you, man. Matthew has a question. Yeah, and if you guys have questions about your struggles, or you just want to share your struggles, but happy to hear that, please do put it in the chat. Would love to hang out with you guys for a little bit today. Here's Matt's question. My publisher is great at communicating. They say anything with vocals is what they're looking for, which is what I'm working on. But I'm worried the library may not be known or big enough. So I think, Matthew, what I would, if I were in your shoes and I'm like, is this really going to be a library I really want to double down on? Vocals for sure. Yeah, I've been saying that since, it's funny, somebody was saying like, I just heard that like vocals are becoming a thing. I'm like, it's been a thing for 2 or 3 years, guys. And one of my first videos in 2023, I told you guys vocals are in. You need to start taking vocals seriously. So if you've been following me for a couple of years, we've been talking about vocals for a long time. And if you didn't know, yes, vocals are for sure becoming not just for, advertising placements, but reality shows are using vocals now. Drama shows for sure, I've used them for a long time. Sports are using vocals as well. Everybody is needing more and more and more vocals. So the concern, though, is the library you're working with, is it known? Is it big enough? A couple of things I would say. One is, do they have a track record of growth, right? Have you seen placements getting secured by them? Do you hear about placements? Do you see at least a forward trajectory, a trend of them securing new clients, new placements? And how would you know that? Well, if you have a great relationship with the library CEO, they would be able to tell you that. You could just ask them, what's going on in your guys' world? What are the updates? How are you guys looking? And any new clients, any new projects? Again, you don't do it as a sort of like, I'm auditing you to find out if you guys are successful or not. But you do it in terms of, hey, I want to be useful for you guys in 2025. What's coming up on the horizon? What clients are you guys serving? What projects are coming down the pipeline? What do you need? If their response is, well, things are a little bit quiet right now, so we'll let you know when we have something, not a good sign. Okay, if they're not giving you like, yeah, we've got this plan, we got this opportunity, we're trying to get into this thing going on. If they give you a laundry list of great opportunities, that's a good sign. I like to see a library that has work for me to essentially go for. Okay. The other thing is, you should be working with another library as well, right? So if you have some doubts about this one, maybe they're a newer one or they're kind of growing, there should be essentially another company that maybe is more established that you can basically A/B compare. Because one good thing about working with a newer company that's kind of growing is if you're in the ground floor with them and you really become one of the core members with them and they start to really blow up and start doing well and getting great clients, you're one of the OG members with them and you're going to get the goodies, right? Because you're going to be one of the ones that help them grow. You're going to be on the inside with them as they grow. So you're kind of at the building base of a startup essentially. And so you can really see very, very amazing things happen. But that also is the risk of the library might not grow. They might not stay in business. They might get bought out and it might be over, who knows, right? It's not every library obviously blows up and becomes the next big thing. So there is a risk there. So to mitigate that risk, you should definitely be working with a second company to make sure that you are, A/B comparing. And if this company does get stale on you, doesn't give you a lot of work, they eventually get bought out, you didn't put all your eggs in one basket. So that would be my advice there. So you have some more there. I don't imagine they'll tell me the clients, and my catalog is less than 50, so I know I just need to give it time, but I don't want to just jump ship. Maybe I should also work on pitching to others too. Yes. So you kind of got ahead of me there. So you joined them, partner with Audio Socket, so it seems like they're growing. Okay, good. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, you can certainly, I would definitely say if you've got some doubts, even if you are feeling great about, for all you guys that are working with one library and you're like, oh, they're great, they're amazing. If you can afford to get a second library under your belt and start to feed the other library as well, I would say do it, because even if you're working with the best, quote unquote, the best of the best, what does that mean? Whatever, a library that you think is the greatest one, that's still not a guarantee that you're going to get great results from them. You guys all know that, okay? Your music has to be the right fit for the right clients at the right time, right? And all that good stuff. So having a second library that you can compare things to, maybe even a third, but again, don't overwhelm yourself if you have limited, resources, limited time to be able to serve 2 companies. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. I definitely think having at least 2, maybe 3 companies you can kind of A/B compare to go, all right, well, I gave 50 to this company. Now I'm going to work on giving, maybe you don't ditch that company, but you slow it down a little bit and you start putting a little bit of effort into a new company to try to get a new relationship started. And then you can start to see who's giving me results. And you sort of alter and adjust your output based on the results that you get. So whatever library is giving you better results, more placements, more income, sync fees, whatever it is, you can sort of gauge it that way and go like, well, I'm going to slow down a little bit over here because this one is just, they're not giving me much. This one, I've only put 10 tracks in and they've already gotten me, 30 placements within a year. That seems to be the path of least resistance for me. The whole reason why I got into sync is because this whole industry was the path of least resistance for me. I was doing sync alongside of my other, B plan was trying to pitch music to artists and going to, studio sessions and trying to ride the coattails of popular people and all that kind of stuff. And I just never was getting anywhere that way. And then library, it was like contract, check, not placements in the beginning, but just contracts and checks, consideration fees, a little bit of, pocket change. And I was like, well, seems like the marketplace is telling me this is where it wants me to go. So I'm going to go with the path of least resistance and where I'm obviously making some headwinds. So I think you guys do the same sort of thing with various libraries for sure. Yes, SA is Sync Academy for sure. All right. Hey, Jamie, thank you. If you were new to sync, what would you say is square one, i.e. the very first thing you should do? Very, very, very first thing you should do is probably, it's self-serving, but honestly, go to my free course. If you go to syncmymusic.com, I have a free course. It's a 5-part course that basically lays out the entire industry for you. The other thing I would say is I do have a starter checklist video here on my channel. So if you want to look that up afterwards, you just type in sync starter checklist, even in just YouTube, and you'll find it. Joining a PRO would be a really good thing for you to do on day one, whether it's going to be a BMI or ASCAP. I'm personally with BMI. I recommend them. They don't pay me to say that. I just think they're great. And I've loved the direction of the new ownership as of last couple of years. But definitely sort of wrapping your head around how long this is going to take, how much work it's going to take. Because the reason why I talk about that and just giving you guys the real overview of what this industry is, and that's what I talk to you guys about in that free course, is I don't want you to just get hyped up and excited about sync because, you hear of somebody earning, $100,000 on a sync fee for a blah, 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 blah. It's just one placement and blah, wow, I blew up. Those stories are great. And I, obviously I don't want to downplay the excitement and the really cool thing. I love seeing producers win like that. That's awesome. That is not the norm in our business. Okay. That's not oh yeah, everybody gets that when they get into sync. It's such a rare situation where you have one song, one placement blow up like that. Generally, how your career is going to be built in this industry is you've got to show up consistently and grind and work and build up a catalog of hundreds up to thousands of tracks in a variety of libraries. So if that sounds horrible to you, I want you to make that decision before you commit any time to this industry. So I would say just go to the, syncmymusic.com. You can go to the free course there. There's also a link here on my YouTube channel somewhere. I'm sure you can find it. It's not hard to find. But yeah, getting a realistic overview of what is actually in front of you would be my top tip for you guys to make sure that you know what is expected of you, what you're really getting involved with. If you make it past that, the next thing you should do, and you're in a great place and position right now, Jamie, because the next thing you should do is go study production music, meaning listen to a lot of high quality production music that's already distributed through production music libraries so that you can wrap your head around what is it that we're doing in this side of the business. Is it just like making beats for rappers? No, it's similar, but we do different things. Is it just like writing a hit song? There's similar aspects to it, but we also got to make sure that we're not writing a song for the masses, but writing a song that can be used by an advertising client, so to speak, right? So what we're going to be doing actually this coming Monday, February 3rd, is we're going to do our next Zoom call in Sync Academy. Now, I am going to broadcast it here on my channel, so you don't have to be in Sync Academy to watch it to get the benefit of it. But only Sync Academy members from now on are going to get the Zoom link, and we're also going to do some track reviews from those of you that are in Sync Academy and have been following along with your progress chart, uploading your tracks, and giving me permission to review it publicly on my YouTube channel. But what we're going to do on Monday, it'll be 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern time, is we're going to go listen to a lot of reference tracks. I'm going to go type in some high quality production music libraries. I'm going to show you where I find reference tracks, where I personally go when I'm looking for inspiration. I'm kind of going, what should I shoot for? What should I aim for? And how do I make sure that my music is fitting in with the current market demands? It's essentially like your blueprint, your guide, your cheat sheet for success, okay? You got to be careful. You don't want to rip anything off. You don't want to commit copyright infringement. We're going to talk about how to stay safe as you're using these tracks to, be inspired by them, emulate them. But you got to make sure that you come to the table with your own creativity. You have to come original, right? So you have to make sure that you are doing it safely. But we're going to really jump into reference tracks in February. That's pretty much all we're going to talk about on this channel in February. That's it. Just reference tracks. What makes a great reference track? How do you analyze them? I have a little system that I'm going to share with you guys on Monday, how I analyze them. Also, it's very important to make written notes, not just listen to it and go, okay, I think I got it. Take the time, open up a little note app or physically write some notes down about some specific aspects of the music that you're listening to make sure that you are understanding all the key components that make it licensable. Why is this track licensable? Why did this library accept this track? Why did this library decide this track is worth distributing to their TV and film clients? So you can figure that out. That's all, I'd say 95% of all catalogs that you can look for online have open and available catalogs that you can search to. You can listen to it. Can't download the music. Do not download the music, okay? None of them are going to allow you to download their tracks, and don't try to get cute and sneaky with that. But you can listen to them. You can keep them up on your browser next to your DAW as you're composing your music, and you can definitely use them as inspiration, as a loose structure, an idea generator essentially for your creative works as well. So that's definitely what we're going to be talking about in February, Jamie. So please do make sure you come back Monday. If not, join us in Sync Academy. And if you guys do want to join us in Sync Academy, and you're thinking, well, it's the end of January and do I have time to kind of find my libraries? There's no deadline that you have to have your libraries found by a certain date. If you're just finding out about Sync Focus right now, watching this live stream, you can join us right now, even get access to Sync Edge if you want to, and go find your 3 to 5 libraries within the next day or two. I mean, the resources we give you guys allows you to do this research instantly, essentially, within an afternoon. As opposed to having to you can do your Google search, you can use, ChatGPT if you want to try to find them. God bless you, go do it if you want to spend all that time. But with Sync Edge, we can basically give you a list of 60 top-rated boutique, small, mom and pop sized TV and film exclusive libraries that you can potentially reach out to and partner with. And we break them down by genre that we feel is the best for each one. So we really take care of a lot of the pain points in finding these libraries, doing your research, figuring out how do you approach them. And I give you in these videos insights for how do you really stand out from the crowd? What could you do with your music to fit in with a catalog, but also carve out your own unique little niche that could really serve their clients very, very well and become undeniable for them as I listen to your music. So every single month, we give you guys 2 new libraries in that service. So we're going to have 2 new ones coming up here February 1st as well. So there's never a date that's too late to basically jump in and join us and get started, because we are getting into the world, especially as technology and social media and AI creeping more and more and more into our lives, where you're going to just get more and more distracted as this year goes on. You already know, you probably already feel it coming on. Maybe you were super laser focused on January 1st and you were like, I'm absolutely just doing sync. I'm just doing music. And here we are just 1 month away. And you can feel that energy probably dissipating already. And what's creeping in the crevices, it's the news, all the big AI news today. That is a distraction, okay? It's important, but if this is what we're only worried about and looking at, it'll keep us away from what we really want to do. Social media, work, family, job, obligations, everything else, you guys can feel it. It's already creaking, knocking at the door, sneaking into the room with you, right? So the only way around that is essentially you have to consciously make a concerted effort to make sure that you're making a decision to prioritize your music and your career and sync, if this is really what you want to do, okay? So we can help you do that in Sync Academy, hands down, with all the comments we're getting, the ones that I shared with you guys earlier in the stream, all the other activity we got going on. We have a progress chart. Many more members just added their names to it. Thank you guys. It was kind of a funny thing. I just made a point of we have 1,045 members. I actually didn't know that. I thought we had a little under 1,000. We actually have over 1,000 members. Cool, 1,100 members. It's great. But when I made a post a couple days ago, I was like, only 100 of you guys have put your names on the Sync Focus progress chart. It's not to shame you, to say, where are you guys? But it's also just a great example of a lot of people want to succeed in sync, right? We have 1,100 members that really probably want to do great things with sync. And only 100 of them decided to put their names on the chart, put their goals down, write it down, participate fully with what we're doing in 2025, right? So that kind of gives you an example of it's not a real saturated market at all. There's a lot of people that are excited about sync. There are a lot of people that are, dabbling in it and kind of getting into it. But how many are really deciding to make it their focus? Well, in our community, which is, I think, the largest sync-focused education online community there is on the internet, 10%. Numbers growing right now, maybe getting up to 15% now. 10%, guys. That's it. That's the number of people who are actively making sync and music their priority. Now, there might be other people in our community that are doing great and staying focused, and they just are not participating in this for one reason or another. So I can't account for them. How do I know, if that's going on? I can just look at the numbers. So I want you guys to know that, if you ever feel like the world is too saturated or sync is too popular, there's too many people getting into it. Yeah, there are. But how many people are actually giving it the proper energy? How many people are actually sticking with it? How many people are actually grinding and showing up every single month and year after year? Carlos, what's up? Carlos, speak of the devil, definitely one of these members that's been consistently showing up, consistently cranking out music, consistently upping his game. He's one of our star members in Pro Feedback and Sync Academy as well. But Carlos is doing amazing things, getting accepted by libraries, getting his foot in the door. It's a small number. It's a very, very, very small number. So hopefully that gives some of you encouragement that it's not oversaturated. In fact, somebody had a great comment in Sync Academy the other day was, the only thing that's saturated is the idea that sync is saturated. That's the only saturation point. It's just too many people think that it's oversaturated. And I would say the people that are interested and tepidly getting involved, yes, tons and tons of them. But that's just I call that the waiting room. That's just a lot of people hanging around, let's see, this is interesting. Okay. But how many people in that waiting room are walking through the door and making the decision and going, what's the price to succeed here? Okay. Dedication, long-term mindset, consistent output. All right. I'm going to pay that price. How many people are knowing the price, paying it, walking through the door into the doctor's office, so to speak, right? In our community, 10%, 15%, not that many. Okay. So if you guys are serious, you guys are dedicated to this kind of thing, there's not a ton of competition for you. There really isn't. There's just a lot of competition for people dipping their toes in the water. It's a crowded pool for sure. Right on, Jamie. You sign up for the free course. Yeah. Go through it. If you have any questions, as you complete it and go through it, feel free to reach out, email me for all of you guys too. Jesse, Jesse at syncmymusic.com. I'll be happy to help you guys out any way I possibly can. I'll help you guys know whether or not, whether you'd be a fit for our community or not. It's not for everybody, but definitely for people that feel that they can produce their own high quality music from their home studio and also see the benefits of partnering with production music libraries. I think we've got the best service in town. I think it's the best thing you could best potentially do to really try to truncate and compress your timeline to success as much as possible. There is no magical bullet that just gets you to full-time income in a month. Nobody's giving you that. We're not giving you that. But you don't have to make all the mistakes that I made and that a lot of other full-timers have made in this business. So, and speaking of, I think also in February is going to be the theme of getting other full-time sync licensing producers on my channel for interviews, because I really want you guys to hear the success stories of other people that are doing this full-time, doing great with the royalties, seeing amazing results, exponential growth with the royalties, and just hear from them directly. What is it about their approach that's working? And you can kind of put yourself in their shoes. Do I see myself, do you guys see yourself fitting into their world and how they're working, how hard they're working, how consistently they're working? Just so you got to feel realistic view of how somebody is really making it work. Because, I got my start in such a era long ago in 2008, 2010, different era, different times, different kind of dynamics were in the industry. And so I want you guys to hear from people who are now currently last couple of years, some just getting started in the last couple of years, but really growing and seeing some great results and what their approach is. So you can essentially emulate them and at least know for sure what's working out there in our current landscape. So that's what you guys got coming for sure in February. So with that, I'll hop off here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Appreciate you guys watching this. And if you would leave me a like before you head out, I'd appreciate that as well. If you're watching this later and you didn't get to participate with us, please below put your struggle. Let me know what you're struggling with and what your pain points are, because I want to make sure that we, channel this channel towards helping you guys address those concerns and make sure that you guys know for sure that you're definitely not alone. And as you guys heard in this stream, you're definitely not. Everybody's got some struggle in one way or another. So whatever you're going through, just know there's somebody else, probably multiple people, especially in Sync Academy, that can easily relate to that. So wish you guys all the best. Happy Monday. We'll talk to you guys real soon.